The avenger reasons, "My good father did not deserve death. He who killed him did great evil. My father, if he were alive, would not tolerate a deed like this. Heaven itself hates wrongdoing. It is the will of my father, it is the will of heaven, that the evildoer cease from his work. He must perish by my hand, because he shed my father's blood. I, who am his flesh and blood, must shed the murderer's. The same heaven shall not shelter him and me." The ratiocination is simple and childish, though we know Hamlet did not reason much more deeply. Nevertheless, it shows an innate sense of exact balance and equal justice. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Our sense of revenge is as exact as our mathematical faculty, and until both terms of the equation are satisfied, we cannot get over the sense of something left undone. In Judaism, which believed in a jealous god, or in Greek mythology, which provided a nemesis, vengeance may be left to superhuman agencies. But common sense furnished Bushido with the institution of redress as a kind of ethical court of equity, where people could take cases not to be judged in accordance with ordinary law. The master of the 47 Ronins was condemned to death. He had no court of higher instance to appeal to. His faithful retainers addressed themselves to vengeance, the only supreme court existing. They in their turn were condemned by common law. But the popular instinct passed a different judgment, and hence their memory is still kept as green and fragrant as are their graves at Sengakuji to this day. Though Lao Tse taught to recompense injury with kindness, the voice of Confucius was very much louder, which counseled that injury must be recompensed with justice. And yet revenge was justified only when it was undertaken in behalf of our superiors and benefactors. One's own wrongs, including injuries done to wife and children, were to be borne and forgiven. A samurai could therefore fully sympathize with Hannibal's oath to avenge his country's wrongs, but he scorns James Hamilton for wearing in his girdle a handful of earth from his wife's grave, as an eternal incentive to avenge her wrongs on the Regent Murray. Both of these institutions of suicide and redress lost their raison d'être at the promulgation of the Criminal Code. No more do we hear of romantic adventures of a fair maiden as she tracks in disguise the murderer of her parent. No more can we witness tragedies of family vendetta enacted. The knight-errantry of Miyamoto Musashi is now a tale of the past. The well-ordered police spies out the criminal for the injured party, and the law metes out justice. The whole state and society will see that wrong is righted. The sense of justice satisfied, there is no need of kataki-uchi. If this had meant that hunger of the heart, which feeds upon the hope of glutting that hunger with the life-blood of the victim, as a New England divine has described it, a few paragraphs in the Criminal Code would not so entirely have made an end of it. As to seppuku, though it too has no existence de jure, we still hear of it from time to time, and shall continue to hear, I am afraid, as long as the past is remembered. Many painless and time-saving methods of self-immolation will come in vogue, as its votaries are increasing with fearful rapidity throughout the world. But Professor Morselli will have to concede to seppuku an aristocratic position among them. He maintains that when suicide is accomplished by very painful means or at the cost of prolonged agony, in 99 cases out of 100 it may be assigned as the act of a mind distorted by fanaticism, by madness, or by morbid excitement. But a normal seppuku does not savor of fanaticism or madness or excitement, utmost sang-froid being necessary to its successful accomplishment. Of the two kinds into which Dr. Strahan divides suicide, the rational or quasi, and the irrational or true, seppuku is the best example of the former type. End of chapter 12.